you have a book out called America's Covert Border War, and it details what is really going on and coming across our border at any given time. And the details are actually quite terrifying because we just think, American, I guess, but once the news stops talking about it, like we only seem to have a problem with rising gas prices when the news tells us we should have a problem with rising gas prices. And they're not telling us what's coming across the border. So give us a look into what's happening at any given time on our border and who's coming across.
Sure. Well, to start with, all year, every year, there is a stream, a flow, a river of migrants who are coming to the southern border from countries of national security interest, people from the Middle East, South Asia, think Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, Northern Africa, Somalia, all of the Muslim majority nations. That is not a gigantic population coming across, but it's significant. Right these days, it's probably right around 3,000 to 4,000 a year being apprehended that we know of that get counted at the border. And that flow of people has given rise to a national security enterprise and counterterrorism programs that were built to deal with it, to try to detect jihadists in that flow and to neutralize them. And that's not just at the border, but it's also throughout Latin America, South America, where those are the passageways to the routes to the border. And it gets pretty complicated about how they are able to do that. But for sure, it is a topic that is taboo in the regular media. Nobody ever wants to talk about it. And when anybody does, man, look out.
Well, I will tell you that nobody in the media even wants to talk about the drug cartels. I know. I've been at CNN and I've been at Fox, and no one wants to discuss the obscene amount of the worst kind of horror movie violence you could imagine. Am I right on that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the cartels are one of the greatest scourges on the planet. They do a great deal of pain and damage to especially Mexico, but also the United States with the drugs that they're moving in and the sex trafficking and the indentured servitude and other forms of violence that are like unspeakable almost.
Yeah. I have pictures in our files from something that I was never allowed to show until I started The Blaze. And they were files that I just thought people should see of warnings being sent to people in these small border towns by the drug cartels. Don't screw with us. And in one bowling alley, the drug cartels came in and had a bag, and like bowling balls, they just threw these severed heads on the bowling lanes to let everybody know, your friends are gone. You don't need to be, but don't screw with us.
Yeah, that's right. That's about propagandizing their strength and control. So it's not that unlike what we saw ISIS doing in Syria when they were holding territory there. They would have big public executions and do terrible things and burn people. And it sends a message, and it tells people you're going to obey us and stay out of our way, too. It's propaganda, and it's incitement, too.
Let's talk about the actual border crisis. Everybody, all the kids that are from Mexico proper, they are all turned around at the border, right? They're not part of this count. I just saw a count from the Department of Homeland Security today about all the numbers of the people, but none of them are Mexican. They say the Mexicans are turned right around and sent back to Mexico. True or not?
On the Mexican children, I'm not sure. Definitely Mexican families that are coming over with that would be adults with children, and that's part of the inconsistent application across the border of policy that's going on right now. It's very confusing, not just to those of us who are down there spending time with the migrants, but the migrants, the immigrants themselves, often have no idea which given day and which area they might be able to get across. But what we do know is the numbers tell us that many, many tens of thousands are getting across and being put right through the turnstile, the American turnstile, and onto buses and being transported across the country. I was on some of those buses just last week and saw it. There's a conveyor belt of buses that are moving from the border to throughout the country, dropping off foreign national families that have just been paroled in.
And we're paying for this with our tax dollars.
Well, the buses are actually, the immigrants are I'm told are paying their own way. It's not like it's a huge expense, but we are certainly enabling it, facilitating it, arranging it, and providing the legal documents. Remember that illegal immigration is not something that is reversible. In almost all cases, it's permanent. So whatever damage is being done now in terms of just mass numbers of people being shipped into the country, it's permanent. They're not going to be able to remove but maybe a fraction of those at any point.
So I've heard people, and Bill O'Reilly makes the case, and I think he makes a pretty good case that Joe Biden has no idea what day it is at this point. But he says, people don't understand in the administration, and Joe Biden doesn't understand what the consequences are and how bad it is. I don't believe that for a second. Do you?
Well, I'm not there. I'm not his. I don't have access to his doctors, but his administration.
Taking the doctor thing.
I know,
yeah, taking the doctor thing out of it.
His administration surely understands what they're doing. All of the people around him, and he has to understand what's happening as well. There is a mass migration crisis underway that I believe is going to turn out to be historic in the nation's history. We will never see any numbers like this. I don't think we've seen numbers like this. Already we're looking at March is looking like it's going to come in probably at around 150,000 apprehended that we know of. The numbers aren't out yet, but I'm told it's going to be right up in there, 140, 150. It was 100 in February just that we know about. That if you were to tack 40,000, 40% rise from month to month, that's historic. That is something we have never seen, that type of a rush, of a crush of humanity over the border.
By the end of the year, we could be at 2 million that have crossed the border in just this year.
And when you're down there, I mean, it's like a D-Day invasion. I mean, it's raft after raft after raft, 4 or 5 abreast, just washing up on our side, dumping their load, going back for more day in, day out. That's what it's like. And those are just the families and children, rafts filled with children, infants. And then you have adults who are supposed to be individual, non-family adults who are supposed to be Title 42 back. A great many of those are being sent back, but they keep trying because they know that a lot of them are making it through. The Border Patrol is babysitting, processing children and families. And it certainly doesn't help when the President of the United States goes on an internationally televised press conference and says to the entire world, we will leave no child behind. Nobody stays in Mexico. All of you come. So they are, and they will. And that's a message. Yeah.
Tell me, you say rafts of children. Are we talking of 15-year-olds? I mean, you just, and I assume that you were using descriptive language, not necessarily accurate language. When you said infants, rafts and infants, full of infants, that's not happening, is it?
Rafts filled with infants. Yes. Yep.
So like one adult or a couple of adults in a raft, and then, I mean, I've seen some of these rafts, maybe 10 infants, 15 infants.
Yeah, I mean, you can see there's video out there. You can find the video, and if you talk to Border Patrol like I have, you will hear these stories of just rafts filled with infants, and you can see the video out there too. Infants, but also 6, 7-year-olds and 5, 4, 3 toddlers, and that's because the administration has messaged, we're taking children. We're not turning children back. And they're also taking family units.
What kind of family turns their infant or 3-year-old over to a drug cartel to get them across the border? And what does that mean?
Well, I mean, the obvious, rationale behind that is that they absolutely hate where they live. They feel that there is an open door. They don't know how long the door is going to be open, but they see it open, and there is a desperate rush to get in before it closes. And that is not my speculation. That is from many, many interviews that I've done with the immigrants themselves in Mexico. I last week had 6 or 7 Central Americans in front of me, and I asked them all, I said, hey, if you are coming here now, if you made the decision to come here now because of something Joe Biden said or did, raise your hand. And every one of them just went like that. They're all coming because they're able to.
They've been invited.
They've been invited.